Nothing's happened, Laurie. I've got no picture of me.
We are live. Simon doesn't know it, but we are actually live.
Oh yes, we are now. You see, what you've got to understand, guys, is that it all looks serene and we're all looking very relaxed tonight, Laurie and I, whatever. 10 minutes ago, there were wires being dragged all around the office. You know the old adage of the duck swimming sedately across the water and the feet going like crazy underneath? That was like Laurie up to about 30 seconds ago. Manic. It's been busy here. We've had some busy weeks. Lots going on, always new projects going on. 20 acres, which is about to start, that's going to start week after next. So all getting excited about that as well. It's a big build. It's this £6.5 million venture. So if anybody wins the lottery this weekend, just think of us, because we've got to try and raise the money to build 20 acres. But it will be the most amazing site. Go onto our website. You will see all about it. It's just going to be an enlarged wildlife aid centre, like it was here, but much bigger over there, and with lots of educational things, which we're very excited about. So here we are. We're here. There's Laurie sitting over there. Look, his little face. I bet he hasn't shaved. He hasn't shaved again.
I have actually.
Have you? My heavens above. Heavens above. So that'll please one of our particular viewers that you've shaved. You have to point it out and lean close to the screen. So week-wise, work-wise, we've had quite a few rescues recently, and we've had. Laurie's done most of them, I hasten to add.
That's not entirely true.
No, Laurie, I think you've done more than me recently, which actually gets me very angered. I am angry, and if you ever saw that film Pretty Woman, Richard Gere spent 12,000 quid on a psychiatrist or whatever it was when he got angry about his parents. So I've had to spend a lot of money on psychiatrists to keep me calm, because Laurie's getting all the glory now. And very sadly for Sean, who was always my #1 go-to rescuer, Sean, I'm afraid you have now been pipped at the post by Laurie, who's now the #1. Laurie's terrified of meeting you, Sean, because I've told him you're a really angry person and very big and hit people. But he did a rescue the other day, which we'll talk about in a minute, actually, which was just stunning. I mean, he was as good as you and I, Sean, and I don't say that easily.
So where should we go? In the comments of this, so this is going to be an interesting situation you've now dropped me into. Sean
will take over the keyboard and write a whole load of abuse, I dare say. And Laurie, you know, just don't sleep with your windows open. That's all I can say.
It'll be well-deserved abuse if there is abuse. So.
Well, who knows? So barn owl flew into wire. Tell me all about that, Laurie.
Yes, so for those of you that have followed us for a while, you know we deal with quite a lot of tawny owls, which are probably the most common of the main owl species that we see at Waff. But amazingly, quite recently, we had one of these guys. This is a barn owl, probably my favourite of the owls, maybe the short-eared owl, but I absolutely love them to bits. Unfortunately, that one flew into power lines. And was grounded as a result. It's been here for a little while, sort of just over a week. Been undergoing a lot of treatment. It's been on painkillers and anti-inflammatories. Was a bit sort of out of it for a while, but luckily is now doing really, really well, and is due for release literally tonight. So that owl is heading back out to the wild, and hopefully he won't be flying into power lines anymore. But I think I can safely say, with all the vet team and the media team as well, everyone was gathering around, oohing and ahhing at that one.
They are very pretty creatures, beautiful owls. I mean, all owls are beautiful, but the tawny owl, which we get a lot in, and I think there's a couple of things about tawny owls in a minute. I mean, they're actually the fox of the bird world. They do kill a bit indiscriminately, but they are very pretty. We get them around here at night. Laurie and I both stay awake at night. That's not to say we sleep together, let's just get this very clear, but Laurie's down the other side of the end of the garden, I'm in my house, and you actually can't sleep at night. My dogs, we get two things happen at night here. One, the owls start calling, and Toby, the little puppy who's 1 year old, barks like crazy. Or the other thing, the foxes start really screaming, and then he's off again. So we're up at least 3 times a night telling Toby very politely to be quiet. Other words are used that time of night.
Yeah, I can imagine. For those of you who saw the holding card that we put up before we went live, that's actually one of the owls that's on site here. So that was just taken a few days ago. When we have tawny owls in one of our larger aviaries, the local owls tend to sort of sit on top and poke fun at him, saying, "I'm free and you're not." So that was one of those.
That's not like you, Laurie. Actually, a lot of people poke fun of you through the window, saying, "I'm free and you're not," and that's
usually true. You.
It's very true, isn't it? It is so true.
It's usually you. If I go too far out, like the tracking bracelet on my ankle alerts the police. So.
I've got 400 volts, goes through that ankle, it just takes him to the ground in seconds. So, you know, he can never go that far. So what else have we had? Duck and ducklings. Duck and ducklings, November, guys. November. And we had 1 day old ducklings in, 8 of them. Beautiful. Mum was in a bad state, actually. Mum was in a very bad state. We weren't really sure she was going to make it. But luckily she did. How much am I allowed to talk about this rescue, Laurie? Because I know, is it coming up or is it already out?
That one is actually already out, so feel free to talk as much as you want.
So I can say the story. So Mum got better, which is very lucky. We put her up on one of our ponds at the top and we tried to introduce the ducklings to her. And you know very quickly what's going on, you watch what's going on. So the ducklings swam across, just 1 or 2 we put in to start with. She ignored them totally, which is slightly wrong. But then a few minutes later she actually started pecking at them and having a go at them. So we knew, sadly, because it had been so long she'd been separated from the duckling, she wasn't going to take them back. So we ended up taking Mum back out to where she was found. So she's got her pond in the wild and the ducklings will go through with us and then all go back out. I mean, the only advantage probably to that is that, you know, in the wild you maybe get a quarter of the ducklings make it through to maturity. When they're with us, it's sort of 99.9% make it. So these ducklings will stay with us now for quite some time and they'll go back out when they're all got all their final feathers and ready to go back. So it's a nice little story. And in fact, there's a little aside on that one. I think this was a duckling that was on, we put on Twitter the other day, wasn't it? She was preening herself on the side of the pond and she fell backwards into the pond, and the look of shock on her face when she fell into the pond. If you haven't seen that, where can they find that, Laurie, that little clip?
So that's up on Facebook, on Instagram and on Twitter. On that one, I can try and dig it out and put it in here later on, but it's definitely worth a watch on that one. It is. She didn't think that anyone was watching. Unfortunately, we have cameras in all of our pens and we see everything, so she didn't get away with it.
Who actually alerted us to that, or did you see it
that
happen?
Was Abby. Abby saw it live. So in the office where I am now, this is sort of the media office. Abby usually sits over here. She's not here today. I hope everything's going all right. She just had a minor procedure. Should be fine, but best of luck and hope you get well soon to you, Abby. I have Sean sat to my right hand side, who is going to kill me for introducing her and talking about her. But Sean is here. This is her first live stream, and she was in the comments at the moment, managing all that one. So
now you've set her up for this, Laurie, really, because she's now got to just put it like Abby does. She's got to put her head across for 3 seconds, a big smile and a little wave. Here she comes.
She's going to kill me.
This basically is Laurie's posse, guys. This is Laurie's posse. Here she is. Oh yeah, there she is. So Sean's our most recent media person, and she's here. And she stayed in longer than Abby did. So that's very brave. That's really very brave.
There you go, Abby. If you're watching this, the precedent has been set.
Absolutely. So duck and ducklings, they'll be fine. The ducklings are still under heat. Are they on camera, the little ducklings, the 8 ducklings, or not? We haven't got them on
I believe so, yes. I'll have to double check, but I believe so. If not, they will be going on very soon.
Okay, it will be, because I shall shout at Laurie tomorrow to do it. Tawny owls, we've had a few in. We've had the tawny owl with an eye injury. You tell us about that one.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of an owl week, really. The past 2 weeks have been quite heavily owly. Most of them have been tawny owls. So the first one that we had was a tawny owl that very sadly was hit by a car. So arrived in quite a collapsed state. We were worried initially that it had quite major eye damage, and we were wondering whether we were going to have to remove the eye. Amazingly, we tried sort of topical medication just to see if we could save it, and it's worked really, really well. So the eye has been saved, and the owl spent, I think about a week with us, and has literally tonight has gone for release on that one.
So there was amazing things, owls, and if you look at those eyes, everybody looked at those eyes just then. I mean, if we had eyes as powerful as an owl, our eyeball would be bigger than a 2-pound bag of sugar. I'm so full of useless information, but that's how big our eyeball would have to be to contain the imagery and all the distancing that an owl's eye does. And an owl, obviously, you know, it can't move its eyes in its sockets, they're fixed. So if it wants to see something over here, it looks that way and vice versa. So it has to move its head to get imagery, which is why an owl can turn its head through 220 degrees. I always ask the question, can an owl turn its head through 360 degrees?
I know where this is going.
Yeah, and so many people put their hands up and say, yes, I know that because I'm very clever. And the answer is they're right, absolutely right. But they can only do it once because it kills them. They can only go through 220 degrees and then back again, but amazing eyesight, very powerful eyesight, and incredibly powerful hearing. They can actually hear cotton wool falling through the air, so that's much better than my hearing and Laurie's actually.
Yeah, oh yeah. The best facts that I know, more specifically about barn owls, two things. One, they've got the most sensitive hearing of any animal ever tested, ever, which is absolutely incredible. And a barn owl's eyesight is so good they can see a flickering candle flame more than a mile away.
That's not as good as mine, where I say they can actually read the small print of the Financial Times a mile away with one
Trust
candle.
you.
So, but if an owl does that by sitting on a motorway, owls likely to get run over, so they don't live that long either. But no, amazing eyesight, amazing hearing, and barn owls particularly have special feather edging, so their flight is absolutely silent. They have special serrations on the end of their feathers, which makes their flight even more silent than a tawny owl. So pretty remarkable creatures. Pretty remarkable creatures. And we had a rescue of a tawny owl this week, didn't we?
We did.
Which is a bit. We can't say too much because it's not up yet. But let's just say it's a repeat of what we've seen before. It was quite interesting, and it was a rescue release. So I've said some of the things. I'm not going to say any more because you'll see it coming up on our YouTube channel quite soon, I suspect.
It was in a location that we would never in a million years have assumed an owl would get into, especially twice. So there's a teaser for you. That will be coming out very soon. In fact, if I look over at the board that you're not allowed to see, it is actually going out on next Tuesday. That one. So next Tuesday you'll see what we're talking about.
I've always said Laurie really is just nothing but a big tease. I mean, that's what he's like. He teases all his
I
staff.
am not going to go anywhere near that.
He teases me. I think, should we leave it there, Laurie? Would you be happier if we left that conversation there? I think he probably would, guys. I think he would.
Moving on. What other rescues have we been on, Mr. Cowell?
Well, I don't know. We've had a yellow-necked mouse cat attack in. You want to talk about that one? Because I have no idea about that one at all.
So at this time of year we get quite a lot of patients that are caught by cats. Our most recent one, I believe, is a yellow-necked mouse, which is one of the rarer species of mice that we have here. Usually we deal with either house mice, wood mice, field mice. There are a bunch of names for a whole lot of different species. But yellow-necked mouse is one of the rarer ones. Luckily it was fine, very, very feisty, and after a long-acting course of antibiotics it was able to be released back to the wild.
So there
a little bit more wary, I think.
A happy mouse. But rescue-wise, you see, this is, I'm not going to talk about these rescues because Laurie's done yet another solo rescue. It was actually my fault.
It was. I wasn't going to do this, but because it involved a canoe, and you'll see where this is going, a canoe and some very cold water at the end of November, Simon said, I'm not going near that with a 10-foot barge pole, and made me do it. So that's on you.
So it's a bit of a mistake actually, because I actually had to stand on the bank on the side of the river for half an hour while you did it very slowly and, not very well. Because I was standing there getting freezing cold for about half an hour waiting for him to do this rescue. So it was a Canada goose that had got stuck in not only fishing line but a length of rope. I can't tell you too much more than that because it's not out yet. But
it is out.
Oh, it is out. That one is out. So I can say that Laurie...
Talk about that all you want.
Laurie paddled off with his new friend Christian in a canoe into the twilight hours. It was quite a romantic rescue actually because the sun was setting, it was all over the Thames, very beautiful. And off they went and we didn't see them for half an hour. So what they're up to, guys, I've no idea. But they got the goose who was very, apparently he was very, what's the word I want, not communicative, he was very docile, very calm and very placid, which Canada geese often aren't. And they cut him out. It was he had a hook. Where did he have his hook? Where was the hook?
So there was a whole load of line that was tangled around both legs and both wings, and then there was a barbed triple hook. So a triple hook, for those of you who don't know, just one sort of main shaft with 3 semi-barbed hooks coming off the top. I had one of those just under one wing. Luckily it had only just gone through the skin to the point that when we actually cut it off and removed it, there wasn't even any blood. Hadn't gone below the skin into the muscle, hadn't caused any damage. Once we took that off, we were able to untangle all of the line from around the legs and around the wings. Amazingly, it wasn't that tight and hadn't resulted in constriction injuries, because that's your big worry when you deal with entanglement cases. And that can take up to about 48 hours to even show. So a lot of the time, in some of the videos where we've taken animals back, you may have thought, oh, it's completely feisty, completely ready for release. But if there's significant constriction or the rope or wire has been very tight, taking it back is always good, because it can lead to necrosis and even the limb dying if you're not careful with that one. Luckily he was fine. We managed to get all that lot off, promptly put over the other side of the canoe and paddled off into the sunset, which was lovely. And then Christian and I spent probably 15 minutes going up and down, removing all of the line. And you saw in the video there was an awful lot of it. Everything from floats to line to hooks, all in the bushes, all tangled round under the water. So that luckily was all free, but it's amazing the damage that stuff can do if you're not careful. You've seen a lot of it, haven't you?
It's funny how actually they were off all this time, yet right next to them was a sort of van on the bank with selling sort of hot chocolate and coffee. I think they were just having a good time. I think they're having their pre-Christmas drink together, so there we are. But no, nice rescue, very nice guy. Christian, if you are watching, which I'm sure you're not, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And that's how rescue goes. We often get so much help from members of the public. It's really very cool, and we're very grateful to them. Christian actually helped us on a rescue a few months ago. We had a grey lag, wasn't it? I think
it was a grey lag. Yeah,
it was a grey lag.
You remember it well?
Yeah, I do, because it was on the edge of the Thames, and I made a complete bilious bosh up attempt, without using any swear words, of trying to catch this thing on a swan hook. I've never made such a disaster. In fact, I watched the footage back and I went, I'm sure that wasn't me. I reckon actually it was Laurie did it, and he'd photoshopped my head onto his body. Because he just couldn't do it properly. But he helped us with that rescue as well. He kept the goose contained with his canoe, so I did eventually get it, or Laurie did eventually get it, and that was that came in and was dealt with as well. So it's been busy times for us. We have, what else we've got going on? I don't know. I've got an running order here, which I always ignore, and Laurie gets really cross with. I think we're supposed to go into a VT quite soon, Laurie, aren't we? Is this the thing
there's one more rescue to discuss on there, but do you actually want to talk about it?
Oh yeah, that one. That one. This isn't that. So this rescue isn't there yet. I'm not allowed to say too much, but it was an incredibly dangerous rescue. It was 21 stories up on an unfinished office block, and I am nowadays, sadly, I used to be fine with heights. I could do anything. I'm not good on heights at all, and even driving across there, my heart was in my mouth, just knowing what was going to come next. Because not only did we have to get up 21 stories, but the way to get there was on an external hoist that went up the side of the building, and I just sat in the bottom. I was quaking. When we were actually doing the rescue, I was absolutely fine, because I'm busy and I'm working what we're going to do. And there again, sorry, without saying too much, you will find that Laurie takes the praise on this rescue as well. So I don't think we should talk about the rescue. Lousy rescue, only one story up, not impressive at all, and Laurie nearly missed it. But do keep an eye on this rescue, because it's one of the most dangerous ones. You've got a fox on a roof 21 stories up with no safety rails, no nothing, doing that on the side of the roof. Yeah. That is dangerous beyond belief.
So just to put that into context, there's no net, no safety or anything. The other side of that wall is a 21-story drop direct to a car park. That is not something that any living thing will survive, especially a fox. So that was certainly one that we've had to take a lot of care on. And you'll see that one actually coming out, not this Friday, but next Friday is when that one's going to go.
I was quite upset about that rescue, because Laurie kept saying, come to the edge and look over here. And every time I got near the edge, he started to push me a bit. He was just hoping I was going to go down. You know,
I can hope.
Swan dive out 21 stories, but knowing my luck, I'd have landed on top of something soft and I would have been fine. 21 stories. No, perhaps not. But watch that rescue, because it is a really exciting one. It might not look exciting to you, but if you think that fox was, that shot you saw there that's before we got there, was running around the roof at the top because he hadn't, somebody tried to rescue him and didn't do it too well, and spooked the fox. But Laurie and I came to the rescue.
Yeah, there's actually a whole load of comments coming in at the moment with people going, wow, how did the fox get up there? We're really not sure how it got up there. It originally started on the 20th floor and then moved up to the roof. Not entirely sure how that, and it was a building under construction, so it wasn't like
Are you trying
it was
to tell me
easy
that
to navigate.
It flew up to the 20th floor, Laurie? How did it get from the first floor to the 20th floor? It couldn't have started on the 20th floor, Laurie. I mean, let's get it together.
A lot of people, including Lucy, actually saying that's very, very scary. Scary fox rescue, OMG, terrifying. It was interesting, and I don't want to say too much. You'll see that, but it was definitely interesting, and certainly my heart hasn't beat so quickly in a long time.
That's because you were looking at me, Laurie, so in awe of my presence and my magnificence. Could that be the reason?
Moving on, we've had a few donations that have come in over the past couple of minutes.
Oh, it's all a laugh here at Wildlife Aid, guys. It's all a laugh, isn't it?
So huge thank you to any of you who have donated. We say this every time, but we get absolutely no government funding. The only reason we can keep doing what we do is thanks to the generosity of people like yourselves. So huge thank you. So Lisa B has donated €10. Thank you very much, Lisa. Ali TK has donated £12. Thank you very much. Myra Kinghorn, who is actually one of our volunteers. Hello, Myra. We miss you a lot.
She's very old, Laurie, isn't she, Myra Kinghorn?
That's very
old.
rude. That's very rude.
Look at this. Look, I've got my Christmas hat. You didn't comment on my Christmas hat. I'm waving my pom-pom every time somebody says something nice. Pom-tom, my tom-tom pom-pom. It's a bit early, actually, for Christmas. Let's take it off. I'll wear it next time.
It's only the 2nd of December. You can't start celebrating Christmas until maybe the 24th.
I'm getting a bit in my Christmas spirit.
You don't have Christmas spirit. We know.
I do. I have spirit. I have Christmas spirits. Spirits, you see.
Again, moving on. So Mara's donated £20 and has put, I sewed a couple of knitted toys, not much, but every little helps. Thank you very, very much, Mara. For those of you who don't know, or for those of you who've attended some of our open days in the past, Mara knits a whole load of hedgehogs and sort of cuddly toys, does it really, really well, and sells them in aid of us. So huge thank you to Mara, going above and beyond yet again. So thank you very much.
All our volunteers do. I mean, all our volunteers are above and beyond. It never ceases to amaze me. And as much as people say I don't thank our volunteers, you can't thank them all individually. But I mean, in the COVID months when we were on lockdown, volunteers are doing double shifts. We had half our volunteers missing, so they had to fill in the shifts. Then we've now gone into what we call worse than silly season. We've gone into Christmas season when everybody's buying merchandise, and all our receptionists now are not only answering the phone and doing what they had to do, but they're flat out packing packages to go from things people have ordered on our website. We'll say more of that later on, but to all of them and to everybody, I mean, it really means that all Alice has to do now is just sit in her office with her feet up, really relaxing, shouting at everybody. You always know when Alice is tense because her voice goes up about 4 octaves. She was in the office this afternoon.
She is going to kill you.
And Lou and I just monitored her voice going up octave by octave by octave until we could hardly hear it. It was nearly out of my hearing range. So she organises them all. She's an absolute little demon, our little Alice. We'll get her to put her head round the screen one day. She will probably kill me after that. But so very
Alice
busy.
Scares me.
Does she? Don't ever admit that to her because she'll play on that, Laurie, and you'll regret it saying that forever now.
Oh, she's already in the comments, so she knows already.
She knows already. So are we going to our VT shortly? Because I'm going to show something if we are.
Yes, we are. We can go to the VT. So for those of you who have been checking out our YouTube channel recently, we've had a bit of a special announcement which revolves around that lovely little model that Simon is displaying at the moment. So this year we've launched our Help Our Hedgehogs campaign. So we've launched a wonderful animation which we'll show you in just a minute. You may have seen it already. If not, I'll play it in about 30 seconds time. And we've launched a campaign to bring awareness and donations to try and help our hedgehogs. So hedgehogs unfortunately have had a 96% decline here in the UK since the 1950s, and we are facing the very real possibility of urban extinction within the next couple of years. And certainly within the lifetimes of any of us watching this, we could be facing a world where hedgehogs aren't even in it anymore. And
are you trying to say that I've only got a couple of years left, Laurie? The way you said it like that
it
is
depends how
implying
much
that
you
I've only
insult
got...
me.
Oh, okay, right. Point taken.
How quick the cyanide pills work, you know, the usual.
Cool.
But unfortunately, the loss of the hedgehog is down to us, and there's no other way of saying that. It's either cars, or we're putting poisons down. So even if you poison slugs, a hedgehog's going to eat that slug. You then poison your hedgehog. We're walling in our gardens, a whole load of things. So we've launched our Help Our Hedgehogs campaign with this animation.
I see things changing, I feel a little strange. Perhaps it's just me, been a little bit prickly. If I had wings, then I would fly. But I'm seeing stars, I'm seeing stars, I'm feeling everything you are. I'm seeing stars, how small we are beneath the great big out of reach. Got Jack Frost lost in a garden, hardening the ground we have not covered yet. A sunfall crawls into corners, is more than these souls can bear. Feet are getting colder. If I had wings, then I would fly. But I'm seeing stars, I'm seeing stars, I'm feeling everything you are. I'm seeing stars, how small we are beneath the great big out of reach.
So really cute. I mean, John Lewis, Asda, Sainsbury's, eat your heart out. That has got to be the best Christmas advert of all times. It did cost us quite a lot of money, but we really wanted to highlight the plight of hedgehogs. And it came out a long time ago as Saving Harry. Now he's just become just another hedgehog that we want to save, because every single hedgehog counts. For every hedgehog we take through and we overwinter, which again costs us a lot of money because we have to stop them from hibernating, we have to keep feeding them, all the stuff that goes with it. And for every hedgehog that we save, even with all the stats that we've got of mortality rates and things happening, dangerous and nasty things happening to hedgehogs, we worked out that for every hedgehog that we save, in 10 years time there will probably be 35 more hedgehogs. So for every 100 we save, that's 35,000 hedgehogs in 10 years time. We go out to hedgehogs all through the year, trying to cut them out of wire, take them out of drains, get them out of, you know, really unpleasant situation. And sadly the hedgehogs suffer because their head will go through a little hole, but because the spines go backwards, when they try to pull back out of it, they can't. So we have to go out there. So if you do have in your garden, if you have any chain link fence or football nets or cricket nets or anything like that, if you can, even if you have to send your children out, just walk around the garden just once a day. That's all it takes. Walk around once a day to make sure there's nothing stuck in that netting, because it can not only be hedgehogs, foxes get stuck too. We actually had one recently, I'm not sure whether that's gone out yet, Laurie, or not, of a bird stuck in a net, and there was a dead bird.
Yes, that has gone out.
So that's gone out. So there was a bird of prey stuck in this netting, obviously chased after this other bird. The other bird was dead in the netting, but we managed to cut the bird of prey out. I can't remember if it was a kestrel or a sparrowhawk. It was one or the other.
It was a sparrowhawk.
Sparrowhawk. So yeah, just check your garden. I mean, it takes a few seconds to walk around the garden, bit of exercise for you, and you could well be saving a wildlife. And to save wildlife is what we need to concentrate on. So we will look after hedgehogs this year. We will overwinter. We don't know yet. They're still coming in. They will still be coming in on present rates right through the winter, actually, because the cold snap's not going to be that long, not hard. And we're getting to a situation now with climate change where I think last year not all hedgehogs hibernated because it wasn't that cold for that long to make them hibernate.
Yeah.
But they get this little thing, you know, their brain says, okay, it's freezing now, we've got to hibernate after a couple of days. So they still might be in trouble. Just watch, keep an eye open. If you see a hedgehog that you think might be in trouble, give your local wildlife centre a ring, because you might well be saving a life. And hedgehogs, particularly with such a massive decline from 30 million to under 1 million, need all the help they can get. Rather like all the lorries in the world, they need all the help they can get as well, because they're in big trouble.
As Simon said, we have launched the Help Our Hedgehogs campaign. So if you head over to our website, Sean's going to put the link to that in the comments over on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So if you head over to the website, or just head to our website and look at the Help Our Hedgehogs campaign, you'll see a whole load of tips and tricks about what you can do to make your garden or your house hedgehog friendly. There's a whole video about 5 tips how to do it, everything from the standard cutting a hole in a fence to making sure you check your area before you trim, before you use lawn mowers, making sure you move wood piles before you burn them, put a plank of wood in a pond so if a hedgehog falls in it can get out. All of these things will negate issues that we see time and time again, and even if you just save one hedgehog, that's still a life you are saving, and down the line one hedgehog can propagate into many hedgehogs.
35 over 10 years, Laurie. 35 over 10 years.
We did a study. Huge thank you to Helen, who's on our office team, who did an awful lot of working out and worked out that if we raise 200 hedgehogs in a year... 100 hedgehogs in a year. In 10 years' time, those hedgehogs can produce 35,000 hedgehogs.
Spot on, Laurie. You're learning fast.
At that point, it's the same thing with IDOT. For those of you who know us and know IDOT, it makes a difference. Every action can make a difference. And 100 hedgehogs, every rescue centre in the UK will rescue probably more than 100 hedgehogs. 35,000 within 10 years. Massive difference.
And that's just on 100. So if every centre rescues 100 and there's 1,000 centres, you can do the maths yourself. It would get the population back up quite quickly. So really important. We obviously have some products coming out soon, which I think we're going to show at some point. Laurie hasn't told me when, but I've got them all sitting around me. My desk is awash with produce to sell. But we will overwinter these hedgehogs. They will eat their way through over 5 tons of food during the winter, so I still
15,000 cans.
Yeah, my topic. I always say, please someone tell me how to market hedgehog poo, because we would make a fortune. It's got to be good for something, hedgehog poo. We're still trying to work out what it is, but they will eat their way through 7 tons of food basically, which is just an unbelievable amount of time, an unbelievable amount of food rather. So we will be buying that through the winter. We'll be keeping them warm. So there's heat. There's all the other things associated with it. So really, to take a hedgehog through in the winter, it's probably over £140 per hedgehog to get it through the winter. So your help would be greatly appreciated. And there's some stuff you can buy later on, and I think we'll talk about that at some point. But not now, I should get into trouble.
We will actually discuss that now. Actually.
Now.
We will. Yeah.
Now.
So for those of you who joined us not last live stream but the stream before, yes.
Laurie, can we discuss it in half an hour?
No.
Laurie gets really upset and say half an hour.
He can't say theatre properly. That's the issue. Or tiramisu.
Theatre, tiramisu, and
we
half
have
an hour.
arguments in the office constantly about Simon's weird pronunciations of things. So he says tiramisu and theatre, both of which are wrong.
And what do you say, Laurie, then? Okay, what's your version of tiramisu?
Tiramisu.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And theatre.
Theatre.
Prove me wrong in the comments.
If you ring up Stephen Fry or anybody like that and ask them how to pronounce it, and they will say to you, young man, it's theatre. Please get it right.
You are getting very off topic.
Off topic? It's just a bit of a laugh, isn't it? It's a bit of a laugh.
So for those of you who were here not last live stream but the live stream before, we had the amazing wildlife artist Richard Simmons on, who revealed an incredible hedgehog print that he did specifically for us, and now we're quite amazed that we have these 3 on offer for you. So if any of you were involved in the polls that we did on Facebook and on YouTube, these are the top products that came out as a result from there. So we have a jute bag, so a really nice bag for shopping or anything like that is printed on the side with the design. The middle one is a tea towel, which is printed with the design, and the far right is a mug. So that is a ceramic mug, which is perfect for tea or coffee, or especially tea if you're British or work in the media department of Wildlife Aid.
Nothing like a good cup of tea. I mean, here's...
You hate tea.
I don't drink any of that stuff, you know me. So there's the hedgehog, beautiful. We've got, and the other thing we have got, which isn't part of the bundle, so you can buy these products. They're on our website. Again, when I say it was all manic and we're all calm now because you can see us swimming above the water, about 5 minutes before we opened up this thing, Laurie was still putting these products onto the website because he hadn't done it before, despite being asked 1 million times by 1 million people. But there, he got them up there. They're all there. So we've got the tea towel, we've got the bag, and we've got the mug, which you can buy in a bundle at a discounted price, or you can buy them separately as well. We also have, which Laurie will show you a better picture, but here is a necklace, which is beautiful. It's solid silver. It's very, very beautiful. And that we've been selling for a while. That's £35, but guys, it is solid silver. It's a lovely present for your girlfriends, or you could even wear it yourself. But it is very pretty. It looks much better in real life than possibly it looks on here. It's very shiny, it's very beautiful, and this was specially designed for us as well. So not only all these products that we've got for sale, literally a limited edition that Richard has allowed us to use his picture for. So, you know, they're not going to be out all over the place. There won't be millions of them. It will be strictly limited, and we have the privilege of using his artwork. And if you go onto his site, which I'm sure Laurie will tell you in a moment,
richardsimmons.co.uk. So we'll put that in the chat. But Richard Simmons with a Y, SYMONDS. We'll put that in the chat on both Facebook and YouTube.
Give Laurie an inch and he takes a mile. So easy to get that out quickly, but you can buy the actual prints, the limited edition prints that he's produced. We sold the originals, or we sold the artist proofs a while ago, and we made some very lovely money out of that because he never sells those normally, he keeps them for himself. So all that's available. It helps us at Christmas. It gives you some great presents to buy, and knowing that you've bought them and saving a hedgehog or 3 or 4 is an added incentive. So thank you guys so much for that. All the other stuff we've got my book, we've got Owl's Dream, we've got Christmas cards.
You keep saying that. It's not called that. It's called The Owl with the Golden Heart. Its working title was Owl's Dream, but it's not called that anymore. So that is a children's story that Simon wrote back in his days when he used to work in London. Quite an interesting one. And are we going to say it? Or
well, we hope what you're talking about the audio booth. Just
yes.
Okay. So hopefully, I've been persuaded to read this to create an audio book. So we're going to put out maybe a couple of 3 chapters over the next few weeks, so you get a flavour for it. And I've got to sit and read this book again. Why I've got to read it? I wrote it. I don't need to read it again, Laurie.
Because no one wants to hear me speak. That's why.
Nobody wants to read my book. It is actually, I love this book. If you want to know the real me, guys, to be honest, if you read this book, this is the real me. This is how my brain works. I've got the brain of a 7-year-old, never got any further with it. But I love this book. It's basically about the work we do, but taken from the animal's point of view. So before we actually rescue the animal, it's all supposition. We just go out, we rescue an animal. But so I put their thoughts into how they got into that situation. I've then plugged us into it as we go and rescue them. So it's all genuinely true stories that we went out and rescued, but from the animal's point of view. So a book what I writ back in 1991. God, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? And my secretary at work typed it all out for me diligently, and that will be out. And there's also my autobiography, which is very boring. So that's this one here. Christmas presents, guys, stocking fillers. This is a pretty big stocking filler, but it is still a big stocking filler.
And if you do want a signed copy of that, if you go onto our website, we are providing signed copies. So each one is hand signed by Simon. And if you want him to write something vaguely abusive in it, just let us know and we'll see what we can do.
I wouldn't write abusive things, you see. I
might say you're really nice when you sign things. It's, I know. Totally not what you're like in real life.
Thank you, Laurie. Laurie's on a limited lifespan here now. He's getting shorter and shorter by the day, to be honest.
So just before we head into some of the questions that you guys have kindly been leaving in the comments, both on Facebook and on YouTube for the past 39 minutes, I'm just going to go through a few more donations that have come in. Huge thank you once again to every single one of you who's done that. So Robert Fletcher has donated £10. Thank you very much, Robert. I'm going to butcher this massively. Evgenius Zvev has donated 100, I believe that's rubles, RUB. I'm not sure, but huge thank yous. But hi from Russia. Your work is very great. Thank you very much. Thank you too. I apologise if I've completely butchered your username there.
Which he has. He's butchered it. I'd have a go at him.
I'm very good at that.
I'd sue him.
Claudia Kelly has donated $6.99 in Canadian dollars. Thank you very much to you, Claudia. Adam Warner, who is the husband of Abby, who is usually sat over there, has donated $14.99.
He's getting
That's
there slowly,
mostly just to annoy you, I believe. And it's got an extra fiver for petrol money from the weekend. Thanks,
Laurie, I was working out the other day how much he had to give us to buy the new centre. And he's going to be giving us money for the next 1,000 years if we get the new centre. And he's going to double his donation every single week or every single fortnight for the next 1,000 years. And then we'll get the new centre. So, Adam, you could be our benefactor. Just think of it like that.
Once again, moving on. So, FXP1688, who everyone knows as Sven, who is a regular here, has been here since the very beginning, and is by a large part more famous than either of us or any animal that's ever been involved at Waff, has donated €100 yet again. Huge thank you to you, Sven. I know you're watching us from work at the moment. But it's part, hi everybody, it's getting freezing cold here in Berlin, but the foxes seem not to care as much as I do. I see a lot of them when I drive home lately. They are crossing the street without even looking. Yes, sadly,
so
especially when it gets dark, watch out for
that gives
foxes
us an
and
in
deer.
there, Laurie, doesn't it? Because we've been out over the last few days. I think I've had to shoot 4 deer, which got hit on roads, and when we don't shoot them just for the hell of it. If they're literally can't be repaired, or they've got a broken back or a broken spine or a smashed up leg, sadly they have to be PTS'd, and we've done 4 in the last 4 days, I think. So animals, it gets dark, animals think they're safe because in the summer they were, it didn't get dark till late, so there weren't so many cars on the road. Now there are so many cars on the road, even though it's early. And please be careful if you're driving anywhere, even in towns, to be honest, but particularly in rural areas. Just be a bit careful at night, and if you do see a deer cross the road in front of you, just know there's probably another 2 or 3 behind it who are going to follow it. So don't just think, oh thank heavens for that, I missed it. Slow down, because there's going to be more problem. We went out to a deer the other afternoon, it was, and the people were beside themselves because they hit this deer. It was a muntjac. I don't know whether Laura's posted a picture yet. They've got a massive, great, tusky tooth inside of their mouth, which if that
don't
gets
want to mess
you,
with the muntjac.
it will literally disable your arm. I mean, they are that vicious. So please, if you hit deer or hit even a badger, please don't try and handle it yourselves. Give us a ring or another wildlife centre a ring, because we have the expertise to do it. And as I say, I knew a lady from a long time ago. There's Laurie's blurred picture, which you can just about see. But it's in the side of its mouth. If it just wishes its head round to try to escape from you, and that rips down your arm. There was a lady who ran a wildlife centre in near Gatwick about 40 years ago now. She picked one up. She was very experienced. It just whipped its head round, and she lost the use of her hand totally from that one rip. It's a big tooth, and it just rips through.
They're like a cat's claw, like a tiger's claw. They're really sharp. So,
really nasty.
Yeah,
so
definitely not one you want to. Not one you want to mess around with.
Not nice.
So,
be careful.
I'm going to rush you because I'm going to need to go through a few more of these. There's a lot of donations coming, so I'm just going to try and get through as many of these as I can, and then we'll jump straight into your questions. So W. Harron has donated €10. Huge thank yous. Put hugs from Austria, and thank you for your contribution to a balance of animal and human. So thank you very much. That's incredibly generous of you. King Kong has donated $3. So it's nice to know that King Kong has a bank account. So huge thank you to you, King Kong.
$3.
$3.
That's better. Not $3. I mean, let's get the facts right.
I'm British. We always get that wrong.
Well, you're northern as well, which makes it even worse.
Any northerners, say in the chat that you're here, please back me up, because usually I'm the only one, because we're in Surrey. Jasenka has donated 209 Danish kroner. Huge thank you to you. Angel Help, another regular here, has donated $50 and has put, this is for the Santa hat, Simon. So clearly that works.
There you are. That Santa hat will be coming out later on in the month. And it will be more all through Christmas days, because obviously we work right through Christmas. I will be up there in my Santa hat with my mulled wine and my mince pies, being my normal, jovial, happy self, which they all know me for.
Not even slightly.
They all know me for my joviality, my happiness, my giving, my generosity.
Again, moving on to the truth. Scottish Astronomer has donated £25 and has put, I hope this helps your hedgehogs. If anyone is wondering, I'm feeling a bit better after my blood transfusion. So really, really glad to hear that, and I hope you're feeling better and get well soon. Best wishes, certainly from me, and I'm sure the rest of the Wildlife Aid team. And thank you once again for your support. And have you got anything to add?
Well, I was going to say I don't have blood transfusions now. They're just straight Bacardi transfusions.
That's all your blood is.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, it is. It's that's why I get so cold. I mean, Laurie gets really upset because I run my house at about 25 degrees, and I'm always freezing in my house.
I house sat for him once, and I swear it was like living on the equator.
I get so good. My dad was like that. My dad got freezing cold as well. So I've obviously taken after my dad. So yeah, we're here. We'll be here all over Christmas. Be lovely to hear from you. Any comments you've got, any questions, just keep sending them in, whether it's on this live chat now or any time. We always do our best to answer them. And believe it or not, as much as I'm a grouchy old Grinch, I do try to answer all the emails I get personally. I don't think I've ever not answered one yet, so there we are.
Right, so I'm just going to run through these and then we can get on to some questions on there. So Miss Ninja Child donated £10. Hi Simon and Laurie, thank you for all that you and the team do. I'm a student veterinary nurse hoping to graduate sometime in the summer, knock on wood, and I'd love to work with you in the future. That'd be fantastic. We're always looking for volunteer vets and vet nurses to help out. So I know slight issue with COVID at the moment, but if you check out on our website, there's a way to get in touch with our vet team to see once you're either, if you're a student round here or once you're qualified, how you can work with us as well. So thank you for that. The Warren, another regular here, hello, has donated €25 to put again for the Simon Manatee Fund. So clearly
excellent.
That one's working
I
well.
love man. I want to go and swim with manatees again. I want before I pop my clogs, guys. There's several things on my bucket list. One is to swim with manatees again, because when we did it during SOS, I swam with manatees, and it was a day I was feeling really ill. I'd been really ill the day before, and we had to get a doctor out. I don't know what he gave me, but he gave me about 55 injections to get me through, because I knew I had to keep going the next day. And I couldn't sit down for a week with all these needles that he stuck in me, but I did keep going. But the day I swam with manatees, I was feeling really ill, so I wasn't at my best. But they are the most beautiful creatures. Don't abuse them, never go up to them, let them come to you if they want to. But there are places you can swim with them and they're beautiful. But the trouble is they are always exposed to all these sort of jet skis and everything else, and all the sort of propellers that go through. So again, we've got to give some more thought to our wildlife, because we just abuse it time and time again, and we've got to be understanding and realise that we need an intact planet. And I'll get off my soapbox.
I am going to rush you. I am going to rush you.
You are. I know.
Fleshby0707 has donated £9.99 for Simon Jingle at the next Waff Live. We're going to have to stick to that one.
Oh, I can do that.
We've had a donation from a loaf of bread. Literally, it's just the emoji for a loaf of bread. He's donated 133. I believe that's Norwegian kroner. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But thank you very much, Mr. Loaf of Bread. Emma has donated 50 Swedish kroner. And has put for the Hedgehogs, so huge thank you to you as well. And now we're just going to jump into some of the questions that you guys have been leaving over the past couple of minutes. So Suzanne over on our Facebook page has asked, how did your organisation start?
It started by mistake, like all things. I was working in the city, I wanted to do something, I just wanted to relax at the weekends, and I thought it'd be rather nice to save the odd wild animal, and we'd heard that some lady in a flat had a seagull with one wing. It had gone into a flat, it was living in a bath.
It means herring gull.
What did I say? Seagull? I said seagull.
Yeah, you said the forbidden word.
God, I said seagull. Oh, I kill people saying
It's a taboo among basically all wildlife
I get
rescues.
so angry when people say seagull. I even put it on Twitter saying, don't say seagull. So this gull was in big trouble, and it came to us, and it just started us off. It happened from there. We just moved to a new house. It had 3 acres of land, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew, and it's become what it is today. So yeah, I love it. I will moan about it every single day, as Laurie will tell you, and I wouldn't give it up for anything at all. I will be doing it from my coffin if necessary, Laurie. You'll be carrying me around in my coffin with my arm out.
A number of people are pulling you up on seagull in the comments at the moment.
I don't even go there. I'm going to erase this part of the live chat before it goes out again. That's just
moving on.
Swiftly
so,
on,
an interesting question from Hayden, which is, what animal/species might British wildlife or the British ecosystem benefit from most if it was reintroduced to Britain? It's quite an interesting one, that.
Interesting question, and I will say this, because we have a lot of conversation about this. I do a lot about this in my live talks, my after dinner talks. it's very difficult. I don't think we should be spending our money reintroducing species, and there's a reason for that, which I'll come to in a minute. We need to take care of what we've got now, and the money that we do have available should be spent on keeping what we have already to keep it going. To reintroduce species costs a lot of money, and people talk about reintroducing the lynx and all these other animals. The climate or the habitat and the systems that we had when they were here last time have gone. There isn't the habitat. There's 100 billion more roads around. I think to reintroduce them now would be silly. And you get the idiots who go out and shoot them for trophies. You get people who are scared of them. I mean, I think we should concentrate on what we've got and try to keep that alive rather than reintroducing. I know it's sad. I know beavers have been reintroduced. They've done very well. In fact, Sean gave me a whole load of information on beavers today.
There's a whole load of new information about a beaver reintroduction project that's happening recently.
They've done a lot.
Really interesting.
But you and I both know, Laurie, they are possibly doomed because people are idiots. And so, yeah, beavers are here. They do great things. They know how to shore up the land. They know how to protect the planet. They know where it's a good place to build a dam to bring water back up and take water away. Yes, it's brilliant. But please, dear God, people, let's protect what we have here now and not try to get too clever. The trouble is mankind, over the last 200 years, we have been too damn clever, and we're now going to suffer the consequence of it. Just be grateful for the planet we have, and just remember that this planet does not need us, but we totally need the planet. Move on, Laurie.
An interesting question from Tracy, actually. It'd be interesting to see what you say to this. I've had 2 hedgehogs in my garden in the early summer. One was stood still, while the other one ran around it, grunting very loudly. What was going on?
I've got to be so careful how I answer this, Laurie, haven't I?
You do.
I think they might have just had a mutual attraction to each other. One might have hated the other one and wasn't taking any notice. Or one might have just had a sip of one of my Bacardis, which is why he's running around frantically. Depending on what time of year it was possibly something to do with mating. Without knowing more detail, I don't know. But I mean, any interaction we have with wildlife, providing it's from a distance, don't get too up close and personal. Enjoy it from a distance and spend time. It's amazing how watching wildlife in your garden, even the owl in our garden the other night, unwinds you. It brings you back down to a level of tranquility, to be honest, and I think that's so important. We don't have that anymore. When I first went to work in London, I had an hour and a half on the train on the way up to London. I couldn't do anything. There wasn't phones, there wasn't computers, there wasn't anything. So I sat and wrote a book, and coming back the same way. Nowadays, you get on a train, or I get in my car when we're going out to rescue with Laurie, and my phone's ringing, people are asking questions. You never unwind. And if we don't unwind, and if we don't de-stress sometimes in the day, it's going to be a nightmare. It was quite interesting on the first lockdown we had when our patient intake went up by 50%, and it has kept through the summer because people are in their garden. Yeah, it is busiest year ever. People see things and they look and they love it, and they come back saying, I sat and watched this, I sat and watched this. Guys, for your own sake, it is a great way of de-stressing. Enjoy what you've got, love what you've got, and try to just think a little deeper about the marvel of nature and what it provides for us, because it's all very well just seeing it and thinking about it, but just dig down deep as to how it got there, why it's there, what it's doing. It will de-stress you, I promise you. I hoped that Laurie would do that for me when he joined. Hasn't worked at all.
That'll just make it worse.
Yep.
So a few people in the comments have twigged roughly what was going on the hedgehog side of things. So that is hedgehog courtship. Incredibly loud, incredibly weird. But as Lou Kingston has said in the chat, we'll also be starting to get calls about foxes super glued together soon. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know the breeding aspects of foxes, when foxes mate, they sort of lock together for about 30 minutes. And every year we get calls about people who think foxes have been tied together by the tails or anything like that. Glue. If you do see that happening, wait about half an hour. I guarantee they'll be fine. And you might have cubs coming along in the next couple of months. So.
We've had so many calls about super glue. And I had spoke to one woman. I was trying to explain it to her politely and gently. And she said, if you could see my face now, it's beetroot red. I've just realised what I've said, and it's the wrong thing. So yeah, they do this sort of thing. Just watch them carefully. If something does happen, obviously we'll come out and deal with it. But the chances are they have locked together, they will unlock, and they'll go and do their thing. And as Laurie says, in about 2 months' time, you'll see some beautiful fox cubs around if you're lucky.
So, Daniel has asked, what coping mechanisms does staff at Wildlife Aid use to deal with Simon's critiques? We don't. We just abuse him massively when we're not online and there's no record of it.
I just have to get my own back on it. Laurie was so pleased the other day because he's going to get a bit of kit for Christmas, I think, from his mum. And he said, I just bought this bit of kit, and he was so pleased with himself because some guys in Namibia
There's some backstory to this. For a lot of the rescues that we've done recently involving netting, a lot of you guys in the comments have been saying try EMT shears, so medical technician shears. We do have a few of those lying around in the car, but the main ones that we were linked to were these ones. So these are a set of Leatherman Raptor shears. They're the ones that are used by the guys over at Ocean Conservation Namibia, which I'm sure most of you will have heard of. And we were clued into them by you guys. I was going to get hold of a set. Simon beat me to it and only did it because I wanted a set.
Yeah, I've got to, you know, he beats me all the time now. He does rescues, which I can't do. You've got a little thing for getting sort of, you know, getting very tight wires off animals, whatever. And I'm going to have a little, you know, live. We're going live now because we are live. And if Laurie calls fishing line, fishing wire again, I swear to God, I'm going to use this on him. It is not fishing wire, it's fishing line.
If I disappear for any particular reason, you've heard it here first. He's the man you want to look for.
And just look for traces of blood on my Leatherman Raptor. Brilliant bit of kit. We're going to use it.
We are. Hopefully, we'll see you that soon. Asido has just asked, do you all work through the holidays or do you try and take shifts?
Guys, there is no such thing. I don't have that word mentioned in this place. There is no such thing as a holiday. There is no such thing as a weekend. And there is no such thing as sleep. We are working 24/7, 365. I promise you. I mean, obviously we do get a bit of sleep sometimes, but if the phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's normally Laurie, and I look at it, I go, oh God, there's another rescue, and off we go. I mean, we are here to do our best. We do sometimes get 2 or more calls at once, and that will, you know, people get very cross because we can't go out. There's only 2 of us, guys, and we work really, really hard, and we do our very, very best. Well, I do my very, very best.
Can I just say, there's not just 2 of us. We tend to do a lot of the rescue stuff, but we do have a huge team.
No, night time. I'm talking about night
time.
Oh,
at night time, yeah.
Night time.
I can say, for regular rescues, we've got a huge team of over 300 volunteers, a whole load of rescuers as well. It's not just us that do the rescue work. We would not be able to cope with the amount of those we get.
That was my mistake. We've got Ron, we've got Pat, we've got. The trouble is, you can't. Everybody says, you know, you should sort of single out people to thank. I'd have to single out 375 people because everybody puts an amazing amount in for absolutely no reward at all. And they're brilliant. I mean, without it, we wouldn't be here. I say this every time, but I really mean it from the very heart of my bottom. Did I say that right way around, Laurie, or not?
I'm not going to even dignify that. Luke Kingston has asked a question for me, actually. What was more scary, the swan in the tree or the fox rescue? The one that was 21 stories up. Personally, I'd say the fox rescue. I don't think it was as difficult to do, but considering what had happened, and I don't want to give too much away, and what was at stake, for me, that was the more nervous. I do a lot of climbing. We were well roped into the tree. There were a lot of people there that knew exactly what they were doing. That was relatively safe. But this one, when you're dealing with a frightened animal, you can't predict it completely.
And we had one chance, Laurie.
Yeah, we had absolutely one chance.
One chance. Get it wrong, it's going to be a bad ending to the story. So yeah, but wait to see the video, guys. Lovely to see what you think of it. Any more questions, Laurie? Because we're coming to our 1 hour time now.
Funny Cat has asked, has the hedgehog population become stable? I remember last time I'd watched the population was decreasing. Unfortunately, it still is.
Yeah.
On that. And it will continue to decrease as long as we continue to wall in our gardens, run them over on the roads, poison them, everything that we do because we want to segment off our little world as much as we possibly can. And until this becomes a big issue and until we start to take action, it will stay that way. So people like the Hedgehog Highways group, amazing group of people that are behind a whole scheme of cutting holes in your fence to allow hedgehogs through. They can wander up to about a mile a night. They need to meet other hedgehogs. And if they can't do that, there's going to be no population increase. So again, if you head over to our website, we've got a whole load of tips and tricks on how you can help it as well. It's just tiny little things, but it can make a huge difference.
Just do your IDOT. We must talk more about IDOT. You know I rave on about IDOT. We haven't talked about it much tonight, but I mean, it's
maybe
all on the website.
Maybe for another time on that one.
Yeah, another time. So Laurie, we've got about 1 minute left, so scream a few more questions. Anything you want to talk about?
Robert has asked, how is Waff and the local birds dealing with the avian flu epidemic?
We are obviously conscious of it. We know it's going on. We see all the memos that come out. It's not affecting us at all at the moment. We are very vigilant to make sure it doesn't come to us, and if it did, we would obviously speak to people and say we think it might be around. We're safe at the moment. We do monitor it literally every single time a government announcement comes out, which we get them all when it comes in. It's mainly for the big bird breeders, it's mainly for the big industrial farms, but we are aware of it. It hasn't affected us yet, and I'm touching wood as I say that to you.
Yeah, we have quite a lot of procedures in here to try and limit any contact or any risk of anything zoonotic. So luckily we are okay, but again, touching wood, we'll see how that develops on that one. Joanna Lee, Simon, what's been your funniest rescue this year?
Working with Laurie. Always my funniest rescue. Working with Laurie
Fair
makes
enough.
me laugh. Or if he successfully gets something and I don't, it makes me cry. So, you know, tears, could be tears of sorrow, could be tears of joy, who knows. I love them all. I just love rescues. I mean, Laurie knows that's what floats my boat. A good rescue will keep me going for weeks and weeks, but we are getting a few more rescues now. Always want more. Always call us. We're always here, guys.
So the other thing we need to mention as well, a couple of you are aware of this if you've seen our posts in either Facebook, Instagram, or over in the community section of YouTube. We are very lucky that we have been one of 12 charities nominated by Animal Friends Pet Insurance to potentially win a massive £12,000 donation, which is huge. The difference that sort of money can make is absolutely astronomical, and all you need to do to that is head over to the website, which Sean will be dropping down in the comments. In fact, she's already beaten me to it. So it's animalfriends.co.uk/pause for thought, PAWS. And if you can vote for us on there, that would be amazing. There are 12 very good charities on there as well. But if you want to help us be with a chance of getting that £12,000 donation, please drop your vote down there as well. So thank you to everyone who's already done that, because hundreds of you have already done that.
And two things I must say to that is, A, you can vote from anywhere in the world, so you don't have to be in England to vote. So it's really important. And there are some very big charities out there with social media followings, probably, well, definitely far greater than us. So please tell all your friends. It's going to take them about probably less than a minute to do this.
All you need to do, put a name and an email. That's it.
That's it, and we're done. So if you can get us up there to be one of the top prizes, we would be so grateful. So just don't forget this. Please tell all your friends when you come off here tonight. Just get them to do it, because it could make the difference between £12,000 or nothing.
And again, just going back over some of the things, I know Alice and certainly the receptionists who've been working around the clock to make up adoptions and everything like that for you guys. If you did want to help us out over on our shop, we've got a lot of things there, varying from our new Hedgehog merchandise to books to DVDs of Wildlife SOS if you wanted to take a trip down memory lane. If you head to wildlifeaid.org.uk/shop, you can find them all in there. If there's anything in there that you've got any questions about, drop us a message and we'll be sure to answer that. Our last day for UK postage is the 17th of December. So if you do want to get anything for Christmas, please make sure it's in by the 17th. Unfortunately, at the moment, with everything going on, we can't guarantee that postage will arrive in time for Christmas if you're international. We'll do our very best, but we can't guarantee that on at all. So if you do want anything else, if you head over wildlifeaid.org.uk/shop, and you can see the whole lot on there.
It all helps, because obviously this has been a hard year for us. We haven't had as many donations as we normally get because of COVID. So anything you buy on the shop, any way you help us in any way at all, have a coffee morning, have a quick fundraise for us, anything, any ideas you've got, be proactive. Every penny we get helps. Every fiver we get helps more. So anything you do for us would be brilliant, and it'll get us through these COVID times.
A few people are asking, do we ship worldwide? Yes, we do. So anything on there, if you want it, let us know and we will sort it out. Again, we can't guarantee it will arrive in time for Christmas if it's international, but we do post worldwide. So a couple of questions before we do have to go. Lucy's asked, Laurie/Simon, do you know why the owls are so active at the moment?
Laurie, that's yours.
He does this all the time. Certainly here, because we have one of our larger aviaries at the moment has had a tawny owl in it for the past couple of weeks. The ones that we have are very, very territorial. Tawny owls are incredibly territorial birds. They will chase others out of their territory or kill them if they get the chance. They've been known to kill barn owls and other owls as well. And the ones that we have tend to sit in the tree and shout rather offensive phrases in owl to the owls that we have in our aviary. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot more of them at the moment as well. We are starting to get into move slightly towards the breeding season for owls as well. So there starts to be courtship and everything like that. But I certainly think here the big issue is we have an owl that they can taunt.
And we certainly have, I mean, I've heard at least 5 or 6 owls at night, most nights here, as well as the foxes screaming. Or it's just Laurie screaming because he's fed up with something, but I don't know which it is.
Usually you.
Usually about me, yeah, absolutely.
John's just asked, am I still doing photography? So yes, I am. I've not done that much of it this year. Obviously, it's been very restrictive in terms of where you can go out, and we don't want to bring any risk back to the centre. But yes, I am. And if you follow me on various social media platforms or the website, which I refuse to say, just Google the name, you can find out some of the most recent results on that.
You were over at Papercourt Lake at the weekend, weren't you?
I was over, yeah, Papercourt Lake in Ripley.
In his welly boots, trying to find, what was it?
A barn owl or a short-eared owl. It's in the winter seasons, it's really good for those. No luck yet. About 16 hours spent lying in a field with nothing at the moment, but we will get there. Unoriginal Uniqueness has asked, what's happened with the new centre project?
It's there, it's running. We're actually, the diggers are actually going in now. I believe 4 years this has been going to happen, but I am now assured that on the 7th of December, and you will see pictures of it because we will be down there with the drone and the stills camera. The guys are going in. They can't sadly build the wetlands in the winter because it's very wet, it's very boggy, they couldn't do it. So they're going to build all the access roads in the winter. Then as soon as the weather dries up a bit, they'll have the access road to go in to actually do the wetlands. So it has started. We have enough money to do the wetlands to a degree. We haven't got enough money to do all the planting afterwards because there's I think from memory, there's £140,000 to spend on planting to get all the right trees and shrubs and everything else down there. So any help you can give us for that would be great. And as I say, if anybody wins the lottery this weekend, just give us a thought. And if they want to pay for the whole centre, you can have your name everywhere, all over it, and a lot more. It will be a great place when it gets there. We will get there. I mean, we'll build the wetlands. They'll take 4 or 5 years to mature, but we are constantly trying to fundraise. Obviously, because of COVID and everything else, it's very, very difficult at the moment. So if you know anybody who you think might be able to help, anybody we could talk to, anybody who could give us advice. We're not specifically asking you for the money because it's massive, but I mean, you might know someone who might be able to help, so just bear that in mind. And that's all we're going to talk about money tonight. Volunteer applications, what's happening? They've been suspended, haven't they?
Yeah, they have been suspended, unfortunately, with the lockdown that now we're just out of. Volunteer applications, they have been suspended until the new year. So if you did want to apply, please check back in the new year when everything's sort of sorted out a bit more. Thank you to everyone who's expressed interest in joining us as a volunteer. We will try and get to it as soon as we possibly can. We just need to make sure that it's safe for everyone involved. So that will be 2021 when they reopen.
So I'm going to let Laurie sign off tonight. And Laurie normally takes about half an hour to sign off. So let's see if he can do it in 15 seconds. I'm counting Laurie from now.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for all of your questions, all of your donations, everything that we couldn't get to. We'll try and get to as much as we possibly can in the next one. And thank you for watching. And from Simon and I, see you later.